Hey guys, John here from Sonic Drive Studio. I hope you're all doing well and welcome back to the channel once again. Today we're checking out the new Amp Room Suites by Softube. This is actually my first time ever really trying the Amp Room plugins by Softube, and I'm pretty excited because these new suites are awesome. I do remember back in the day seeing those old plugins and the sort of simplicity of them and how enthusiastic people were about those plugins and how realistic they sounded, so they were always quite intriguing to me. And now Softube has taken the Amp Room concept to the next level with these new suites. Quick disclaimer up front, this is a sponsored video, but as always, all thoughts and opinions are 100% my own. So Amp Room is now divided up into 4 separate suites, and those are all available at the Softube website for attractive prices. You have the Amp Room Marshall Suite, the Metal Suite, the Vintage Suite, and the Bass Suite. And before I tell you all about these plugins, let's take a listen to some tones that I created with the Metal Suite using my LTD EC1000T guitar straight into the plugin. Let's check it out right now. Alright, that sounded pretty great to me. So that was my ESP LTD EC1000T full thickness Eclipse with the EMGs into the Amp Room Metal Suite with the Mainstayer amplifier, which is based on a dual rectifier by Mesa Boogie, one of my favorite metal amps. And all the processing and all the tones and the cabs and stuff were all done inside of the plugin. I'll show you the settings of that tone in a minute, but first let's take a quick look at all the features that these plugins have to offer. All the suites have the same layout basically. At the top of the screen you can select whether you want to use the suite view or the studio view. I personally prefer the suite view, but the studio view gives you a good overview of the entire signal chain in one screen. There's also a gate and a tuner as well as in and output levels and metering at the top. In the bottom right you can select which suite you want to use. Each suite has its own unique selection of amplifiers and cabinets. The Marshall Suite has a bunch of licensed Marshall amplifiers, the Metal Suite a bunch of high gain amplifiers, and so forth. And all the suites also come with unique and suitable cabinets that you can choose from to really tweak your tone. In terms of signal chain, you can add pre-effects like boosts, a noise gate, modulation effects, EQ, etc. There's quite a nice selection of effects and stomp boxes to choose from here. Then of course you can choose and tweak the amplifier. And the cool thing that I like about these amplifiers is that most of the amplifiers have multiple channels and all the switches and stuff, so that's really cool. In the cab section you can choose 2 different cabinets if you like and blend them, each with their own mic and mic placement. There are some cool tone shaping options in here, like a low cut and a proximity effect for example. So you can really dive in and tweak the sound to your liking and make it sound like you and make it sound unique. Which is what I did for all the demos in this video. I guess the drawback of this system with all the movable mics and stuff is that you can also get some bad tones here. So you have to be careful with what you're doing here. However, of course, you can also load in your own impulse responses, and the plugins come with some impulse responses as well. And then after the cabinet section, there is the post effect section where you can load your EQ and stuff like that. And then finally, the 5-band graphical equalizer. I don't tend to use that EQ because I prefer to do all the tone shaping in the amplifier and the cab block, but it's there if you need it. So everything in these suites is well laid out and easy to use, and yeah, it's just a breeze to work with these plugins in my opinion. And as you heard in the first demo, I was able to get some great tones out of the Metal suite. So for that first demo with my LTD Eclipse, I really wanted to try that Mainstayer amp because I'm a rectifier fan, and not all digital rectifier emulations are so good, so I just really wanted to see if this one is good, and luckily it sounds great. It has that signature sizzly and scooped rectifier sound. Let's also take a quick listen to the isolated guitars. Cool. So I used channel 2 on the modern mode, which is also my favorite mode in the real world. I have the Troll Gate or Noise Gate in the pre-effect section. And after the amp in the cab section, I have 2 American amplification cabs loaded up, which I assume are based on Mesa Boogie cabinets. I'm blending a 57 and a 121 mic, which is my favorite mic combo. Let's take a quick listen to the different mics and how I blended them. All right, finally in the post-effect section I have the RoomIR effect loaded up, which I use for a very subtle room ambience effect. And that's it basically, a very simple signal chain with some great tones. Now let's take a listen to a more classic rock tone that I created with my Gibson Les Paul Standard 60s and with the Marshall suite. Let's go ahead and take a listen right now. Cool, that sounded great. Now let's also take a quick listen to the isolated guitars. All right. So my amp of choice here was the Marshall Silver Jubilee amplifier on the lead channel because I like how fat those amplifiers sound. In the pre-effect section, I'm using the tube boost, and that's just adding some gain and some push. And for the cab section, I'm actually running 2 different cabs on each side because the guitars are obviously double tracked, 1 on each side. And on the left side, I'm running 2 Jubilee cabinets, so the 2551 cabs. And on the right side, I'm running the 1960 TV cabinet with the same mic settings on each cabinet. Let's take a quick listen to how these cabinets sound separately. Cool. In the post effects section, I'm running a simple equalizer to remove a little bit of low end. And then I'm also, again, adding the RoomIR effect. Let's take a quick listen to that and how it affects the tone. All right, and now the final tone with my Ibanez M80M Meshuggah 8-string, so I was really going for that extended range metal tone. Through the metal suite once again. Let's take a quick listen to those tones. Great, another very solid tone. Let's take a quick listen to the isolated guitars as well. Alright, so for that tone, I'm starting off the chain with a pre-effect, and I'm using the integrated preamp as a boost basically, and to tighten up the tone, Meshuggah style. Then I'm using the high gain 100 watt 6L6 amp, which is based on an angle amplifier, obviously. I'm not sure if it's based on the Fireball or the Powerball, but it sounds great. And in the cab block, just as with the first tone, I'm running two American amplification cabs again, with the 57 and the 121 mics. And that's it. You guys know I love simple setups. Alright, so those were the new amp room suites by Softube. These suites are awesome. They sound great and I had a lot of fun working with these plugins, and I highly recommend checking them out on the Softube website, which I will link in the description below. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and that you found it useful. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. And also let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on these plugins. You can also follow Sonic Drive Studio on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers!